President Buhari inaugurates NIL's headquarters in Abuja. Ad hoc committee investigating the alleged $2.4 billion crude oil sale face-off with the Attorney General of the Federation. And later on the program,
I want to believe very strongly that before June 13th, when the 10th Assembly will be inaugurated, it's very likely that we might even have a total consensus position. I want to believe that.
Member-elect Akin Rotimi Jr. will talk to us about his expectations from the 10th National Assembly. You're watching the Hala Chambers on TVC News. I am Tijesu Adewi. The National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies will now begin to work from their brand new facility inaugurated by President Muhammadu Buhari. During the ceremony, Mr. President reminisced on the cordial relationship he enjoyed with the legislature, especially the 9th National Assembly under the leadership of Ahmed Lawan as President of the Senate and Femi Gbajabiamila as the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Our achievements in reforming the oil and the gas sector, strengthening the electoral framework, diversifying our economy, improving transparency and accountability, tackling insecurity, and entrenching good governance are easily verifiable. This 9th Assembly will be remembered as one of the most productive in terms of outputs and outcomes. Again, I thank the leadership of the National Assembly for giving me the support required to deliver on my promises to Nigerians.
Whatever we have done here is because you wanted us to do it. But also, sir, whatever the executive has been able to achieve, and you have achieved a lot, is because this 9th National Assembly has always been there to give you the kind of support that you need to achieve what you have achieved, what you have so far achieved. And you have achieved so well.
This is even more critical in view of the expansion in the mandate of the Institute by President Muhammadu Buhari to extend its services to political parties, civil society, media, and other democratic actors. The legislative agenda of the House of Representatives prioritizes human capital development due to its centrality in achieving sustainable economic growth.
The building, which comprises of administrative block, library, governing council chambers, staff offices, and convention center, has facilities comparable to any research institution in the world.
The House of Representatives had a committee probing the alleged missing $2.4 billion illegal crude oil sale had a heated exchange of words with the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami. But eventually, they all agreed to collectively review the documents presented on the matter and reach a conclusion.
You've made it clear that you have assisted the country commendably to recover over $1 billion, but we cannot see $1 billion in this submission.
I am certain there was a balance, and I am certain we wrote a letter to the governor of the central bank intimating him of the approval of the president that outstanding balance should be now paid into the governor's forum.
Kogi lawmaker Senator Smart Adeyemi wants the federal government to probe the failed implementation of the Naira redesign policy and establish the setback it caused for the Nigerian economy and the hardship inflicted on citizens.
Those who plan to destroy Nigeria before this election, they must be brought to book. They must come and give account. When was that money, when was it approved that we should have new currency? What was the intention of those who mooted the idea of new currency? And why is it that you came up with a short time for people to exchange their currency? What happened after all? Have there been new currency in more circulation? No. In fact, to the contrary, we are seeing new notes of old currency. So they kept that money to do what? so that this country will sink. We thank God that Nigeria is floating, and I pray that this country will continue to float. And you have a responsibility. Don't underrate your pen, your medium. Never underrate what you write.
Spokesman of the Coalition of United Political Parties, Ikenga Ogochinyere, who is also a member-elect from Imo State, has led 62 other lawmakers-elect to endorse Tajuddin Abbas as Speaker of the 10th House of Representatives. He believes Tajuddin Abbas, who is also the choice of the APC, is competent and capable of steering the affairs of the Green Chamber of the Parliament.
That I, Ikenga Imo Ugochinyerika 1, shall be supporting Honorable Tajuddin Abbas for the position of Speaker of the 10th House of Representatives and Honorable Benjamin Okezie Carlo as Deputy Speaker. If they had not chosen Tajuddin Abbas, I would have chosen him and supported him. Same for Benjamin Carlo.
We'll go on a short break. When we return, Member-elect Honorable Akin Rotimi Jr. will join us. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. You're still watching the Hello Chambers, and my guest today is a member-elect. His name is Honorable Akin Rotimi Jr. He is to represent Ekiti North 1 Federal Constituency in the 10th National Assembly. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
Congratulations on your election.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So what are your expectations now that you're going to be part of the 10th National Assembly? What do you expect from the legislature?
Well, I think that my expectations for the legislature essentially is in consonance with the expectations of Nigerians generally. More than ever before, you see that Nigerians want a new lease of life, a renewed hope in the leadership in this new dispensation. So we're expecting that all members, individually and collectively, understand the expectations from Nigerians to provide leadership, to provide accountability. First of all, in the business of lawmaking, which is very crucial, as well as the business of oversight of the executive functions as well. Yes, generally to make sure that they give good account of, based on the confidence that was reposed in every one of us by Nigerians. As you know, the elections were very, very interesting. More and more we saw that people were more involved and more interested in individuals much more than even parties. So they're holding people accountable to the fact that, look, we sent you there for a reason. And you'll see again against the backdrop of the fact that it's a very interesting 10th Assembly. We had very, very high rate of turnover between the 9th and the 10th Assembly. Now you have upwards of about 270 new members out of 360 seats available across the country. So that tells you that, there was a clean break. Everybody just thought that we want quite a number of new people. I've seen as well that from an under 40 caucus, right, that you have in the House, of course I'm not a member of that, I'm slightly over that, but you find that you have almost 50 people in that. So that tells you that there are also a lot of young people coming in, so there's a new lease of life. Aside of that, for the first time, which is quite unprecedented, you have 8 parties, 8 political parties, that are in this 10th Assembly. So you have that, diversity of opinions. You have extremely intelligent people. I dare say that I've met quite a lot of accomplished people, even though there are a lot of newbies into the Assembly, but are nonetheless very, very accomplished. You have at least 4 current speakers of state houses of assembly. So you have the Kano State House of Assembly Speaker, Edo State House of Assembly Speaker. You had a former speaker from Kaduna State, if I'm correct, and then a couple of others like that. Extremely accomplished people. The former special advisor to the president. Extremely accomplished people across different walks of life that are all unified along the lines of giving accounts to Nigerians based on the expectations that they have of us at this time.
So speaking of the high turnover of lawmakers, which you earlier mentioned, a lot of people are concerned about this because they feel this would affect or have a negative impact on the role of the legislature in deepening and strengthening the role of the legislature in a democracy. How do the new set of lawmakers hope, to manage this and, to catch up quick? How are the lawmakers prepared for the task ahead?
Well, thank you. So to start with, yes, you did mention that there was a huge rate of turnover, and it could impact on institutional memory of the House. But like I mentioned, you have quite a number of people that also have some degree of legislative experience. You also have a lot of people that have had experience in government in different contexts as well. But yes, it is a big issue, to be honest. Yes, I was one of the beneficiaries of that huge turnover, but nonetheless, we need to acknowledge the fact that it's not healthy for our democracy, it's not healthy for our legislature to have that rate of turnover. Because, but nonetheless, I believe very strongly that with the institutions in place, with all that has been put in place to ensure that the new lawmakers, even as well as the returning lawmakers, are able to hit the ground running. We had a very fantastic induction course where you had very accomplished and very knowledgeable faculty who took us through the business of lawmaking and what to expect. So I don't have any doubt at all in my mind that this 10th Assembly, yes, would hit the ground running, and be able to get on with the business of lawmaking very speedily. We have our eyes on the targets, very clear. I've had the opportunity to speak with a lot of, my incoming colleagues, as it were, across the country, and you see that passion, you see that focus, that determination that everybody wants to come and make a difference. So I'm sure working together, I don't think that the 10th Assembly is going to disappoint Nigerians at all.
Let's come to the burning issue, which is who is going to be the leader of the 10th House of Representatives. It has generated a lot of, talks here and there. And why is it so difficult for the party to actually, come to an agreement? Because the party has also suggested some names, but not all, candidates are really happy with this outcome. And don't you think it's going to affect you and give an advantage to the opposition in the House of Representatives?
Well, thank you very much, CJ. I've listened to you very carefully. I've heard a couple of words that sometimes could be a little worrisome. When you talk about clash, when you talk about all those other kind of words. We need to be careful as well. And I think the media has a role to play in moderating the conversations around the issue of the emergence of the House leadership. I don't think it's anything out of place, for us to have all the kind of politics, all the kind of lobbying that's going on at this time. I don't think it's out of place for the ruling party, the NWC, to, issue a statement that was well received, by many members, to the effect that, certain individuals have been recommended, for the presiding officer's position. And I don't think it's out of place that you'd have a few members that won't be very happy with it. Again, that 24 hours is a very long time in politics. Right now, we're still about a little over 2 weeks away to inauguration and where the election of the speaker will take place. There's a lot going on. I believe strongly that the party has what it takes to contain whatever issues. I believe very strongly in the capacity of our chairman, our national chairman at the NWC, and by extension, our leaders across the board who are very interested in the fact that the 10th Assembly should be a rank-free one, a harmonious one, not a rubber stamp, to the executive, but nonetheless one that will work closely with the executive to be able to deliver on the promises of Nigerians. So I don't think it's out of place. Yes, there are other contestants who thought and assumed that they will be the ones that probably will have been favored, but unfortunately, if things didn't go that way, there are also noble statesmen and women, and I believe that ongoing consultations to contain whatever media might call as clash or crisis and all of that will be done effectively. I want to believe very strongly that before June 13th, when the 10th Assembly will be inaugurated, it's very likely that we might even have a total consensus position. I want to believe that because a lot of work is going on. And you see, it's a testament to the kind of individuals that have been put forward by the party. Of course, on the sides of the Senate, Senator Akpabio and Senator Jibrin Barau, but I won't speak very much of that. For me, what is of concern is Honorable Tajuddin Abbas and Honorable Kalu that have been put forth as Speaker and Deputy Speaker for the Speaker and Deputy Speaker position. And so they are very interesting individuals, very knowledgeable, intellectuals. But aside of that is the personality that they have. That is what has endeared them to very many of us.
Okay, we'll keep our eye on that, but we still have a lot more to discuss. But we'll take a short breather now. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. The National Assembly is a busy place. As the bastion of democracy, it is a place where bills are presented, motions debated, laws made, and the yearnings of the people are laid bare. Come with us as we take you through the workings of the National Assembly. We take you through plenary, committee meetings, and probes, all to ensure smooth working of the democratic process. For joining us, we have been speaking to a member-elect in the House of Representatives. His name is Honorable Akin Rotimi Jr. He is going to be representing the great people of Ekiti North 1 Federal Constituency of Ekiti State in the National Assembly. Thank you for staying with us.
Thank you very much, TJ.
So tell us, why is it so difficult to convince the aspirants to step down for the names suggested by the party? I know that the party, your party chairman has already said those candidates should not, take that to heart and begin to parade themselves as, the speaker or the Senate president or deputy. But why is it so difficult to convince these aspirants? Isn't the party supposed to be supreme, like they say?
Right. So thank you very much. So to start with, our very, well-respected national chairman, himself a parliamentarian of repute, being in the upper chamber in the Senate, also knows that the process of producing, the presiding officers, and it rests entirely, on the members, right? As at best, they can be guided by what it is that the party has said. So yes, in his wisdom, he did mention that yes, okay, you have the party's endorsement and all of that, but nonetheless, you still have to go out and do your work. So I don't think there's anything out of place in that. I think it's very much in line with whatever is going on right now. And, when you talk about the other members being, the other aspirants, being convinced, like I said, it's still over 2 weeks away to inauguration. Previously, we had a G7, now we have a G6, because one person has stepped down and endorsed Honorable Tajuddin Abbas. I believe that a lot of work is going on. And just like the national chairman said and you mentioned, the aspirants themselves are not sitting on their ass. There's a lot of work going on. And other stakeholders are also involved in ensuring that we have a very, seamless process of the emergence of the presiding officers. But like I said again, if it does come to it, right, we're happy to go, to election on the floor. And, majority would have their way, while minority would have their say. I think it's just normal in any democratic or parliamentary process. So I don't think that it's there's any contradiction between what it is that our national chairman said and what, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas and Kalu already know, and all that support him already know and already working towards.
Looking at how the party already zoned the candidates
yes.
that are going to vie for the speakership seat, it seems the North Central is already, zoned out, and they already feel sidelined, by this arrangement. Why do you think this is? You think this is actually, healthy for the party?
However way that you look at it, different segments of society can, feel sidelined at every point in time, right? It's the duty of our leaders, right, to ensure that critical balance. As it is, I'm not in that room where those decisions are made, you know, regarding the zoning of certain offices. What we've seen so far is only what we can judge by. You don't know what else is coming down the line, right, where, you know, critical decisions will be taken to ensure that we have a lot of equity. And, you know, you must appreciate the fact that we are coming from an environment, an election that was very divisive, if you'd say. You know, we've never been this fractured, and, you know, there's a lot of tension, and there's a lot of, you know, interest in people ensuring that there's a lot more equity, a lot more fairness across the board. And I think that our leaders, you know, let us give them the benefit of the doubt, right? They have this at the back of their minds, or rather even at the front of their minds, right? Because it's priority that we ensure that there is a lot of equity. So yes, if the North Central is at this point in time feeling that, oh, they're sidelined, you don't know what else is coming up, right? In the scheme of things, there are a lot of other very major, you know, positions in, you know, in the scheme of things where all of these things will be balanced out. So I think that it's early days for us to assume that the NWC and our leaders and stakeholders at that level in arriving at that decision, you know, don't have or don't take cognizance of the broader picture of building, you know, starting out, you know, the new administration on a sound footing of fairness, you know, and equity, and you know, all encompassing of all regions. Yeah, so I want to believe that all of that would be addressed down the line. So it's early to say that the North Central, you know, feels sidelined. I mean, the national chairman is from the North Central, you know, so I mentioned the North Central feels sidelined. The national chairman himself is from the North Central as well.
So we all saw the face-off between the speaker, the current speaker of the Ninth Assembly, and the deputy speaker on the floor of the parliament at plenary. Do you think this is healthy for the Nigerian legislature?
Well, again, media has a crucial role in shaping conversations around these issues. It's not quite a face-off. I would say the engagement, you know, on the floor. I don't think it's very, you know, far from what you find on the floor. Both gentlemen, highly respected, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, as well as Right Honorable Idris Wase, extremely intelligent parliamentarians. It's normal every now and again for things to get heated up, and you know, yes, there is some degree of emotions. Now, if this happened at a different time, a different epoch in the House, you know, no one would necessarily give different shades of interpretations to it. But because it's happening now, there's a lot going on. There's an interested party as far as the House leadership in the 10th Assembly is concerned, and then everybody's giving different meaning. I don't think it's anything.
But don't you think that would be sort of setting like a bad example for the incoming?
No, I don't think it's so much of a precedent. I mean, you have a lot of intelligent people. Trust me, the 10th Assembly is going to be very interesting. I would say interesting. I wouldn't say, let me say interesting, because I know a lot of people that are also very, from my engagement so far, they have an opinion, they have strong opinions on issues, and they want to have their say. So, and that's why it's very important as well that whoever gets to that seat as presiding officer is someone, first of all, very knowledgeable about the rules and has the charisma to be able to carry everybody along, and has the temperament, you know, to be able to carry, you know, everybody along. Like I mentioned, 8 parties represented in this. We don't even have a single majority. That's the APC, the ruling party. We don't have a single majority in the House. That's why you find the minorities calling themselves the greater majority, because if they put their numbers together, they're even more than us. So you would find a lot of such situations. I would want to believe, but it's not anything unhealthy. It's all part of the democratic process. People want to express themselves and should be given the opportunity to. And in avenues where they think they've not been given the opportunity, you see, but what you find is that you don't find a breakdown. Both gentlemen spoke very politely to each other. They enjoy a great relationship within the House and outside of the House. They are going to both leave a great legacy behind.
As a member-elect that's going to be part of the 10th National Assembly, what are going to be your priority areas, and how do you hope to represent your people to ensure that they feel the impact of good governance?
Thank you very much. So I understand very well, I've said very often, it's on my website and in so many places, about the role, of, my understanding of the role of a representative, of an effective representative. So from R is, robust representation, you have O, you have oversight, you have L, legislative activism, and then a creation of, the Nigerian, context, which is empowerment as well. So for me, it's ensuring that I don't fail on any of those fronts, So I understand as well that in terms of representation, I'm supposed to, as much as possible, galvanize all stakeholders across the board. And that's why you see that it's unprecedented. No one is doing what I'm doing at this point in time to, engage stakeholders across the grassroots to be able to harmonize a development agenda, for the constituency. That has been ongoing for a while. And in terms of my legislative agenda, I've been consulting across the board. I have, a set of priorities that I have essentially around, issues of health, education, social protection, foreign policy, and a couple of other things, right? And I am going to be very involved, by God's grace, when the new speaker emerges, right, in working with him to craft a legislative agenda for the 10th Assembly, from which everybody then finds their own locus. So that essentially is where I am right now. I don't have any doubt about the fact that I'll be building on the legacy of those that have come before me.
That is our package this week. Join us again next week for new and fresh updates on lawmakers and the race for the leadership of the 10th National Assembly. Thank you for watching. I am Jesu Adeoye. See you next time.